Well, let's talk about politics. I've put in text and in comments that I'm a moderate. I'm a strident moderate. I definitely don't agree with the conservatives. And the liberals won't have me because I don't quite fit in with them. The past 4 years I've grown and changed a bit, and I've become an anti-conservative. Conservative proposes an idea, I want to take it, examine it, dissect it, and find a way to destroy it. Conservatives are concerned with the status quo, maintaining it, or in its worst case scenario. Best case, we want to roll back time. Current conservatives want to roll back time to, the 1950s. And you can get a glimpse of what the idealized life in the 1950s were by watching shows like Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best. That was the idealized form of life. It didn't really happen, but it was portrayed that way. So people look at the past with their rose-colored glasses and they go, gee, that was nice. Break time. Well, I took a long break, didn't I? Because now it's daytime and I'm awake and sober. I tried 5 times to do the rest of that video last night, but I was a bit too deep in my cups to be extremely coherent. So, conservatives. They're out to destroy this country. Conservatives frequently run back into history and their rose-colored glasses and say, oh look, this must be what our founding fathers intended. No. Our founding fathers, no matter how many different ways you slice it, were radical liberals. Radical. Far into the left wing. Stop and think about what they did. They created a country pretty much out of whole cloth. A little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit from there, to create this government. I mean, something I don't think many people realize is each day the United States continues to exist is a Guinness Book of World Records moment, because no other government like ours has existed as long as this one has on the planet. And it was a left-wing idea, a radical idea. These were radical thinkers. They weren't Christians, as the conservatives like to define them. Hell, look at the history of Benjamin Franklin. You know, there was a man who supported all faiths. Thomas Jefferson hated the whole Christian concept in Jesus Christ. It's from his own writing. This is not me making it up. You can find it yourself when Thomas Jefferson calls Jesus Christ the worst thing to ever happen to humanity. I tend to say he's anti-Christian. It could be me, but anyway, conservatives don't come up with anything good. Conservatives, at best, take an idea that liberals came up with and use it when the liberals are done with it. So, let's look at history. Marvelous thing about conservatives. Let's go back to the original democracy. Athens, Greece. Yay. Great country, right? They had democracy. Everything was wonderful. And once a year, they could vote somebody to die. The conservatives said, oh, this person is corrupting the morals of our youth. This is why we're going downhill. Blah, 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 blah. And who do they do that to? That little-known fellow named Socrates. By democratic vote, he was required to drink hemlock and die because he was corrupting the morals of the youth and having Athens fall. Yeah, right. Conservatives now scream, morals, morals, morals. We must protect our youth. Yaha. Any similarities there? Let's move up a couple thousand years in history, from the time of Socrates to, the early 20th century in the United States of America. Big leap there. Vocal conservatives and moralists who had to protect our youth ran through this little thing called prohibition. Now, while there may have been some minor organized crime in the United States at that point in time, it became big business because a vocal minority, which the conservatives really are, tried to ram down their morals down everybody else's throat and say, we must be a moral country. And the vast majority of the people went, you're nuts. We're not going to do this. Do you realize that tickets for drunk driving actually were higher during that period than before? Could have been that the cops were just enforcing it more, or it could be a lot more people were drinking. It's probably the latter, because fortunes were being made. And organized crime became as big as U.S. Steel. Because the vast majority of people wanted it. And by damn, they got it. So. And still, 90 years later, we're dealing with the after effects of that. Because they had all this money up, booze is long gone, but we have this whole organization in place. Oh, look, we have all these trucks. Oh, look, we have lots of people we've bribed. Once you bribe somebody, they stay bribed. They went and looked for some other product to push that the government banned. And, oh, look at that. Now we have the drug trade, which is $400 billion a year. Think about that. And our conservatives do not want to hear anything but what's morally right. No, I'm not picking on any Christians here. I'm just going with conservative people and their moral views. Okay? I'm not picking on any faith. Milton Friedman, guy who was a Nobel Prize winning economist. Okay? He is cited as being amongst the best in the world. Okay? 5 billion people. His work was the best amongst them. Think about that. He says this prohibition is bad for our economy. It's bad for us. Do the conservative moralists listen? No, 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 no. We can't do that. That would be wrong. It's not morally right for people to do this, and that's what's more important. And they're ramming their opinions down our throat. Conservatives want to destroy this country. They really want to go back to an old-fashioned monarchy, or it's just one person in for decades. Put the family in you want. Support them with money. One family for decades. Oh, look at that. We've had the Bush family for how long now? Here we go. You see the point? Conservatives are going to destroy this country far faster than any terrorist would ever do it. Conservatives want you to live in fear. The boogeyman over there. The conservatives have given us a war on terror. Okay? A war on an idea. How stupid is this? Flat out. You cannot kill an idea. You can't. An idea cannot be killed. You can try, but it won't work. It has never worked. It never will work. Okay? So it's an open-ended war that'll go on for decades in the name of morally right conservative values. Uh-huh. We have the best government money can buy. And everybody lives in fear of the right because all the the conservative right does is go, I want my values enforced. I want everyone else to live by them, so here's my money to do it. The right wing always has money to spend to try and force their values down everybody else's throats. All us moderates and liberals are too busy doing other things, like living a life. So, and in time, I figure the next 20 years or so, America's going down. We're going to be burned out, done, because conservative moralists are out there trying to control this country. Conservatives delude themselves into believing they were responsible for the downfall of the Soviet Union empire. Yeah, right. Couldn't have been the flawed economic policies those people had. Couldn't have been they just fell apart under their own weight because of the corruption. If you had money, the majority were still serfs and peasants, just like they were before the Russian Revolution. So, that couldn't have been it. The inevitability because of their poor economic system. No. America's going to go that same tube because we're trying to be the policeman of the world, and that's just stupid. So, there's my little rant on conservatives. Hopefully this makes sense. If it doesn't, too bad. It made sense to me. Have an adequate day.